Okay, welcome to lesson 23 of Numbers and Operations. Add and subtract mixed numbers. Okay, our objective. So, you might ask yourself, what is a mixed number? A mixed number is just a whole number with a fraction. So, let's take 1 and 3/8. There we go. That's a mixed number, a fraction and a whole number. An improper fraction is a fraction where the top is bigger than the bottom. So let's say 11 over 8. This is called an improper fraction. You will not leave fractions like this. You will simplify them down into mixed numbers. And we'll talk about that as the lesson goes. Some rules and notes. Okay, so our first example. First thing we're going to do, we got two negatives with nothing in a row. That becomes a positive with no number in between them. So we have 1 and 1 over 10 plus 2 over 5. And so now there are several ways to tackle these problems. You can just deal with the fractions, but that becomes messy when the fractions become more than 1 and you have to add 1. So what I say is anytime you have a mixed number, turn it into an improper fraction and then add. So how do you turn a mixed number, that's a whole number with a fraction, into an improper fraction? So what you're going to do is you're going to take the whole number and multiply it to the bottom and then add to the top. Multiply, add, multiply, add. So 1 times 10 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 11 over 10. And how do I know that this works? Well, watch. We know from dividing fractions that 10 divided into 11 goes once. 1 times 10 is 10. When we subtract, we get 1. So you get a whole number of 1, your remainder of 1, and your divisor is 10. So the denominator of a fraction is also a divisor. And I talked about those terms in earlier videos. So if you're not sure what a divisor is, go look it up, Google it, or go back to my first video on dealing with division. Okay, so now 1 and 1/10 becomes 11/10. And we'll add them on the next video. So we have 11 over 10 plus 2/5. We cannot add these two numbers. Why? Because the bottoms are different. So now we're going to have to convert this over. So if I know that 5 divides into 10, I can easily convert 2/5 by multiplying by 2 over 2, which will give me 4/10, and then 11/10 plus 4/10 is 15/10. They're both positive, so I get 15/10. You cannot leave your answer like this. Some teachers will accept this when you first start working on fractions, but after you're done with your intro lesson of fractions, she's going to tell you to simplify. So what we do is take 15 over 10. We did take 10 into 15. We get 1. 1 times 10 is 10. Subtract, you get 5. 10 doesn't go into 5, so we know that your answer is 1. The remainder goes up top, and the divisor is your denominator. But here's another thing. 5/10 is not simplified. So if we divide by 5 over 5, we get 1/2. So our final correct answer is actually 1 and 1/2. So it seems like it's a lot of work, but you're going to get used to it, and this is why you need to practice. So the couple of practice problems I give you is not enough. You're going to have to practice and practice and practice until you get this. Okay, let's look at our second example. negative 2 and 7/12 plus negative 3 and 5/8. Okay, so again, 2 and 7/12. We multiply, then we add. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 7 is 31. The bottom stays the same. So now we have negative 31 over 12. We're just converting these into equivalent fractions. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 5 is 29 over 8. Oh, but look at this. Our bottoms are different. We cannot add these fractions as they are. So by going to the next page, we had negative 31 over 12. And we had negative 29 over 8. So here's the secret. Go to your larger one, denominator, 12. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. We see that 8 goes into 24 evenly 3 times. Because we don't have to do anything with the 12, it can stay. But if you multiply the top by 3 over 3, you get negative 31 over 12. 8 times 3. Oops, I'm sorry. We had to change 12 into 24 by 2 over 2. So we get negative 62. Let me erase this and make it neater for you. So 31 times 2 is 62. 12 times 2 is 24. 8 times 3 is 24. And 29 times 3 is 87. So now we go to add. 7 times 2 is 9. 6 times 8 is 14. 6 plus 8 is 14. Negative 149 over 24. But we're not done here, people. We're not done. What you're now going to have to do is simplify this. This is not simplified. Do not leave your answers as improper fractions. So negative 149 over 24 gives us, how many times is 49? 24 going on 149. 2 times 7 is 14, but you got a 4 here, so I'm going to go under. I'm going to try 6 and see if 6 works. Because 6 quarters is $1.50, so 6 should work. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry the 2. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14. And look at that. When you subtract, we get 5. So the remainder becomes our denominator. This is our whole number because this is actually how many times 24 goes into 149. The remainder goes on top, our numerator, and this is the number that goes on the bottom. So the answer to the previous problem is 6 times, negative 6 times, and 5 over 24. So now, try to practice problems, and I will catch up with you at the end of the video. Okay, so here we go. We got 1 3/5 plus negative 6 7/10. Okay, so what we're going to do, convert these into improper fractions. Multiply, add. Multiply, add. So 1 times 5 is 5 plus 3 is 8/5. 6 times 10 is 60 plus 7 is 67/10. Negative. Now we have to deal with the fractional part, the different bottoms. You got 5 at the top, 10 at the bottom. 5 goes into 10 twice. So if we multiply the top fraction by 2, we come up with 16/10 minus 67/10. There's no sign in front of the 16, so make it a positive. They round up vertically. The bottom always stays the same when adding and subtracting. Different signs subtract. So 67 minus 16 will give us 51. Take the sign of the larger number from the integers videos, and we get 51/10. But we are not done. So 50 divided by 10 will give you 5. Negative 5. 51 minus 50 is 1. The leftover becomes our top of our fraction, and the bottom stays the bottom. So the answer to this one is negative 5 1/10. And for our final problem, negative 3 5/6. Look at that. 2 negatives with nothing in between them become a positive. 1 3/4. Okay, we had to convert these. 3 times 6 plus 5. 18 plus 5 is 21/6. That's a 21, that's negative. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7, 7/4. 6, 12, 12. 4 goes into 12 3 times. So I can change these. The lowest common multiple is 12. So we have to multiply this one by 2 and this one by 3. 21 times 2 is negative 42. 6 times 2 is 12. 7 times 3 is 21. And 4 times 3 is 12. 12. The bottom stays the same when adding and subtracting fractions. You got a negative and a positive. Different signs subtract. So 42 minus 21 is 21. But we are not done, people. We get 21 divided by 12 goes into it once. And then 21 minus 12 is 9. 12. Uh-oh. 9 is not prime, neither is 12. Do they have a common factor? 9 is 3 and 3. 12 is 3 and 4. Oh, both of them have a common factor of 3. So we can divide 3/3 out and get what's called an equivalent fraction. So let's put the negative 1 out. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then 12 divided by 3 is 4. So negative 1 and 9/12 is equal to negative 1 3/4. How do I know that? If you do 9 divided by 12 in a calculator and do 3 divided by 4 and then do 21 divided by 12 for this one, you'll get the same decimal answer. And that's how you know your problem is correct. So that concludes this lesson, adding mixed numbers. I will catch you on the next video. Hit that subscribe button. Click the like to get notifications of the many more videos I have on file for you.